All right, guys, welcome back to our regular SG Tech Isolation Economy webinar. I see so many familiar faces, so many familiar names. I feel connected to you guys already. Thank you for joining us here today in a very exciting topic about cybersecurity. Now, do not worry, I'm no cybersecurity expert. So with me here, we have a guest speaker, which I'll introduce them in a short while. With me here today, we have John Goh from Palo Alto Network. He's a channel business manager and he'll be sharing about securing the mobile workforce. He just waved to you guys. And we have Liao Kim Hock, CEO of Whistling, and he'll be sharing about cyber hygiene factors to think about during the COVID-19 crisis. I think it's going to be a great session. I cannot wait to hear from these two industry experts. But before that, I'm going to do a quick introduction again. And also, we want to thank our friends and partners from Singapore Business Federation for joining us here today as well. This series cannot be possible, cannot have been done without them. So thank you to the SBF and thank you for working with us on this series together. So as always, I want to give you guys a quick safe harbor statement. All the information provided here are really meant only for the purpose of learning. Please, of course, seek your own independent legal and accounting advice before you make any decision. I think the two speakers have tried their best to make sure that their content is up to date and relevant. But give them, please let us know if you think there's any mistake. But always seek your own advice before making a decision. So my name is Ivan. Happy to be once again your regular host. I'm the co-ops counselor with SG Tech. So what is SG Tech? For those of you new, SG Tech is the premier trade association for all the ICT or what I call the technology company in Singapore. We represent more than 900 companies, and John and Kim Hock here are both our members companies. So thank you to them for being part here to share about this to the wider SME community. I really, really appreciate it for them joining us. So what is the isolation economy? The isolation economy is our webinar series, but not more than that. If you guys go and check out isolation.sg, you will see three things there. You will see a toolbox, things for you guys to look. There will be a toolbox for you to share about solution they can adopt. Of course, the webinar series are our main draw and some courses available. To share with you guys, the solution toolbox will happen after this. Do not leave. We have join us for the next 1 hour, 30 minutes for lunch sharing, plus giving you guys live demo of solution you can use for your business to help you with cybersecurity. Of course, no one size fits all, but at least they are curated. They are for our members company and there's demo and you guys can straight away adopt and use it. So stay on directly at 115 for it. Nothing changed, just continue staying on for this. Now, our next webinar will be tomorrow on e-commerce as well. For those of you very pleased to, of course, have Enterprise Singapore share about the e-commerce starter package. So it might be very relevant for you guys as well. For those interested, go to isolation.sg to sign up. Now, as always, some of you guys are regular faces have done, but you know what? Only 60 of you have done it. So we have 180 of you here right now. That means that 120 have not done the survey. So do the survey, okay? I'll remind you guys again, do the survey. I'll draw more stars and arrow later, but do the survey later. Thank you. So let's talk about some admin stuff first. The webinar will be available to download on isolation.sg. The previous day's slides and today's slide will be available shortly. Just give us a while to upload it. By about 5-6 p.m. today, we should be good to go with the slides and all. Next thing will be the recording. There'll be a recording of this session as well. You can view it later. Give us a while as well. And last but not least, the Q&A. Now, sometimes a lot of you guys type the question you have in the Zoom webinar chat. Please help us to type it in the Q&A section so that I can direct them to both John and Kim Hock later. They will make really easier and more facilitated discussion. Okay, last but not least, guys, remember to stay home, save life. Okay, stay home, come join us for webinar, stay home, save life. So without further ado, I want to pass my time over to John, once again from Palo Alto Network, Channel Business Manager, to talk about securing about the mobile workforce. John, please.
Hey, thanks a lot, Ivan. Or should I say DJ Ivan?
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. So just let me whip up my slides and
no worries. And I'm going to
presentation
video as well.
Okay.
Okay, we can hear you and your slide. Perfect. See you.
That's great. So thanks once again, SG Tech, for having Palo Alto Networks. We are committed to keep everyone more secure and more safer than yesterday. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about how we're going to secure the mobile workforce and to talk about some of the threats that are surfacing nowadays. So my name is John. I'm a channel business manager from Palo Alto Networks. Nice to meet every one of you. Okay, so now we all know the current situation in our region is the COVID-19, right? So you can see over here, you can see a lot of the ministers, okay, different screenshots from the different countries. And for Singapore itself, we just had the extended circuit breaker. I think for Jakarta, they also have the PSBB also extended lockdown. Likewise for Malaysia, right, and the other countries as well. I think in the region, probably only Vietnam is probably going to ease down the measures today. But I think the rest of the countries are still having their guts up for this. So I think what we are trying to point here is that we don't know what will happen tomorrow, right? And this lockdown may or may not continue or be around for a long time. So the thing is we need to be on our guard as well. So in this aspect wise, I want to bring your attention to this interesting website that we came across called the Board of Innovation. They are a team of these customers that have grouped together to provide advice to SMBs and SMEs in their businesses, okay, to give them advice on, especially in this recent report that they have released called the Low Touch Economy. It's about this shifts within the COVID-19 that they have observed. So what do they talk about is things like what is the changes in this the human behavior, changes in the technology, changes in the trends, changes in what are all the commercial or even the shift in the geopolitical stuff. So I really urge you to look into this URL at the bottom, boardofinnovation.com/low touch economy, to take a quick look at this. It's really quite interesting. Okay, so just want to highlight one of the pointers within their reports. They did talk about this portion called pivoting of portfolio. What kind of portfolio? That will refer to the investment portfolio. So the thing is, how should you, as an SME or SMB, repurpose your investments to the right growth initiative? So since I speak from a cybersecurity company perspective wise, we want to talk about your investments in cybersecurity per se. How should you repurpose it in this kind of situation or in future type of situation to make sure that you still are geared for the right growth for your business? Okay, so here is a typical enterprise network itself. Okay, you have, for example, if you are a customer, you have a main office, you have a data center, you probably use the public cloud, you probably use the SaaS, which is the software as a service, or you have an extended branch of retails. Okay, so typically as an organization, you would cater about 20% of your workforce for remote access, or maybe your solutions that you have in place itself will help you to cater to this. Okay, the issue here is, okay, at the situation right now, what we have is the users, instead of being at the main offices and the branches, they start to move to become remote users because of the likes of COVID-19 pandemic. So what will happen is you typically try to do connectivity remotely back to your main office or to your data center through the likes of VPN, so secure connections itself. But with this sudden surge of these remote users, okay, we find that there will be some bandwidth capacity issues when you try to connect back to your main office or your data centers or anywhere else. So in what happens is this will affect user experience itself. There will be businesses also operations wise to be affected. I think this is a huge concern for everybody. This is four major concerns that we have highlighted, okay, based on just on that scenario that I mentioned. First of all, there'll be network congestion. Even though you can expand your hardware and your data centers or main offices, you won't be able to enjoy the full benefits of it because everybody's working remotely. The user experience is definitely affected. And most importantly, you are exposing your people who are all over the world and working remotely to new attack threat vectors or virus or whatnot. So today's topic itself, we're going to come into some of the common threat verticals or threat vectors that come in place in during this COVID-19 pandemic period. So like recently we had on the news itself, I think teachers in Singapore they had to stop using Zoom because of some very absurd kind of instance that occurred because the video conferencing tool got hacked. Then in terms of this COVID-19 situation, right, there have been a lot of phishing emails that have been going around, which is trying to fish for people's information or credentials, right? And even websites also come into place. So actually these are all very legacy kind of hacking methods itself, but people are just making use of the situation to try and earn an extra buck itself. So there's also scam calls and there's also ransomware and whatnot that's happening. So we as Palo Alto Networks as a cybersecurity company, we have a backend research team that actually collects information from January 1st to 31st of March. So you can see in this chart itself, this is showing the list of new websites that are churning out, or we call it domains that are churning out because of COVID-19, with keywords relating to COVID-19 per se. So let's take just an example. When I got to know about coronavirus, I started to Google about how much percentage alcohol can actually kill the bacteria, kill the virus itself. So, example, there's a lot of this kind of informative websites that come into place. But the thing is, not all of them are 100% legal, legit, or per se. They sometimes are there because of hackers coming up with a hacking intent or a malicious intent. So from our side, in this chart itself, you can see different numbers, right? We have managed to identify a number of malicious sites, a number of high-risk sites. This will actually subject many of the remote users or people to all these unnecessary scams or even phishing or malicious attempts. So all in all, in the threat landscape itself, okay, just to do a quick summary is, don't be lured to opening attachments on malicious emails or clicking on phishing links. So nowadays, attacks are not so simple. It's not about just bringing your computer down or bringing your network down. These are hackers itself, they like to place the virus into your machines or malware into your machines and slowly siphon out information which is they can use to resell or to make other malicious means to. So from our side itself, okay, we also managed to identify a lot of different malicious emails with subjects containing COVID-19 and related keywords. And these are actually containing some of the threats or netwire, which in other words means malware per se. Okay. Okay, so how can we really help customers? If you come back to this diagram itself to talk about just now earlier on the concern on limited internet circuit and gateway capacity for the VPNs or whatnot. Okay, we have a solution called the Prisma Access Cloud with built-in security capability as well as consistent security across your network on-premise, off-premise, on the cloud. Okay, this is provides this has a built-in integrated security features itself. Okay, as you can see at the left-hand side. So all you need to do is connect to our Prisma Access Cloud, and we will help to provide the secure connectivity to your respective data center or public cloud or SaaS or whatnot. Okay, and the best thing about this is easy to deploy, and to scale it up and down, there's a dynamic way to scale it up and down. You don't need to worry about the SLA because we actually run on the backbone for these cloud service providers like Amazon or Google, okay, and provide security that's always turned on. So without further ado, do stay tuned later on for our more in-depth solution brief of this solution. But I would like to pass my time to Kim Hock right now for him to share on his portion. So Kim Hock, please.
Okay, thank you, John. Let me try to share my screen now. Yep. Okay, got it.
Thank you, Kim Hock. Sorry, do you mind speaking a bit louder? Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me well, Ivan?
Better, much better. Thanks.
Better. Okay.
Yeah, this is perfect. Thank you. Kim Hock,
Good.
Cyber Hygiene, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Ivan, for the introductions. Thank you, HGTech, for giving me this opportunity to present my experience and knowledge, and how should we cope with COVID-19 crisis during this for cybersecurity and cyber hygiene. So today presentation, I will mainly focus on what, not how, not so much technical stuff. I'm aware the audience are many SME boss. I think at the current situation now, everybody are suffering about all this change of the work processes, work from home and so on. So my objective is to have some takeaway for you guys, that you guys can practice cyber hygiene even during this COVID-19 crisis period, because cyber hygiene is not just something that you should apply during your office network, but on the office network as well. So this is something that you should learn or take away. It's not necessary to engage external vendor or service provider to conduct this cyber hygiene. It's something that you can do yourself, or you ask your IT guy to practice it. Okay. So I will focus more on what, because I only have 15 minutes to talk about it. Yeah. So not to try to alarm everybody, but this is the fact. Not the prediction made by Robert Mueller back in 2012. Now we are in 2020. So when he made the statement, he said that there are only two types of company: those has been hacked and those will be. And back in now 2020, we realize that most company has been hacked one way or the other to a certain degree. So cybersecurity, cyber hygiene is always something back of mind. And as I know, SME bosses, we do not have the resources, we do not have the expertise, and also the time to look into cybersecurity and cyber hygiene. But today, I try to share with you some of the best practices and the cyber hygiene that you guys or your IT guys can take home and practice it, not just for office network and also for home network, because now most of you are working from home, you know. Okay, so I want to share you next slide is about what are those assets and what are the attack vectors. Asset are those like servers, network equipment, virus router, firewall, databases, application, you know. So out there, hacker trying different means, different attack vectors, try to access to your organization network to look for what? They mainly look for the crown jewel in your organization, the data. And you hear now and then, you know, past few years, there's so many data leak incident happens. So for SME boss, you should pay attention to these are the possible attack vectors. You know, the hacker can do remote execution. Basically, they can remotely control your virus router. They can plant a malware into your organization, not just at office, but at home as well. Because now they know that, you know, most people will work from home, not just for next few weeks, but probably till end of the year. Because, you know, until the COVID-19 vaccine is available, most of people still many work from home, and it will not roll back this. And after SME has invested so much on digitization, application, server, and hardware, more and more process will done digitally. So all the investment practices that you apply now, the investment will be still protected, so it's not gone into waste. Yeah. So ransomware is another type of attacks. So ransomware, as the name implies, basically it's a software malware that, you know, hold you ransom. So what the hacker usually do is that they send you a file or a link that you download it, but the software itself, the malware itself, basically will encrypt your critical data. So while it's been encrypted, you know, SME boss will not able to open it without having the encryption key. So they have to go back to hacker. And of course, hacker will try to contact the SME bosses. Do you need back the data? They was pay back, usually it's to Bitcoin. That's why you know that, you know, nowadays, Bitcoin are so popular nowadays. So ransomware is one kind of attack. You hear about WannaCry, you know, and all this ransomware happening nowadays. And those malware is not just office network. It can apply to ICS, industry control system, the so strengthen the regulations to make sure the power plant, water plant, the critical infrastructure are protected from malware as well. Denial of services, basically what I mean is that it will bring down your services of your servers or devices or network devices, you know, by overloading the devices processing capacity. How to do it? Usually they will send big chunk of data, can be a gigabit type of data to overload the servers, overload the devices. Then the devices will not be able to operate. So these are all attack vectors that, you know, hacker deploy. Besides that, password brute force. So hacker will deploy password dictionary attacks, try to retrieve the username and password. And once they got it, they can easily remotely access to your network and application. Another type of attacks are SQL injection. So basically they run some command on your website, and then from the command, they can retrieve the critical data and information from the website. Yeah. And also privilege escalation, you know, and so on. Yeah. Okay. So I move on to the next slide. So basically, I just want to focus on 6 key areas of cyber hygiene that, you know, most SME bosses can take away and focus on. First of all, look into the possible social engineering attacks, where hacker may send you a phishing emails, which become very popular now because most people, most hackers know that SME bosses, staff are working from home. They may use target for them. So they will send you the link and so on to get the information downloaded on the home PC. Yeah. So this is the thing that you should be aware of. So you need to know how to prevent this. You can email me. I can send you a list of guide. You can how to do prevention on social engineering without additional cost to you. Yeah. Second area is that outdated software, because SME may not have the capacity and resources to keep the software inventory updated. But this is crucial. You know, outdated software usually has a lot of vulnerability because the vulnerability are discovered day by day from the community, from the user experience, you know, and it was updated by the provider. So you have to keep this software updated so that the vulnerability are minimized. There's no software hardware that's zero vulnerability, and you will hear about zero-day attacks. Are those vulnerabilities that you haven't heard about, haven't been discovered? So this is a basic cyber hygiene thing. Keep your software updated. Also, you know, at your critical server, you look for the multi-factor authentication, right? To user level, you know, for example, like you're using SingPass today to log into the government services, right? So you go on the website at the same time, you use your mobile phone to scan the QR code. Once it's authenticated, you click OK, then you log in. So this is an example of multi-factor authentication based on two-factor, one on the screen, one on the mobile. So hacker need to have these two things at the same time in order to log in. So it's not so easy to hack into it, but always, you know, hacker, there's a way, you know, 道高一尺，魔高一丈. Hacker is always ahead of us. But this is how the basic thing we can do on the critical servers. Besides, you know, you have some very important servers or firewall that have very powerful privilege, like those admin account, right? So this account, you have to control it, limit it to only key person, and also have a backup person just in case the key person is not in or has left. So that, you know, you have to proper take account of this administrative account so that it's not allowed for abuse, and also be careful about the insider threat also. Somebody in the office or contractor may try to exploit this administrative account to bring damage to your company. Yeah. The second last area is the weak password policy. You know, I think most of the SME, IT admin, they already know that you need to have at least basic good password policy, like alphanumeric characters, and also change the password like every 30, 60 days and so on. Lastly, you know, take a look of your anti-malware solutions, you know, or look into the multi-layer defense of malware detection. So endpoint itself may not be sufficient, and also you may need to add on the network layer. So these are 6 areas. Most of it, you already have it, just that you have to spend your time, look into it, do some checklist, you know, ask your IT guy to check on it. Yeah. So the next slide, basically just to show you that these are the area that you can go into it. On social engineering, you can look into those email phishing, reverse site metering, and so on. So these are a list of items that you can ask your IT guy, administrator, to check it out. Do we have this thing ready? No, do we need some more help, or where can we do this? So these are the checklists that you can show to your IT guys. I will not elaborate in the detail, which I already explained it in my previous chart. So lastly, this is about Wishling. So Wishling, headquartered in Switzerland, we basically provide end-to-end cybersecurity services, including the cyber hygiene and so on. So we are global CREST accredited pen test vendor. You know, CREST is the standard pen test accreditation in Singapore to offer this to C sector. So Wishling is one of it, and our office in Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, and China as well. So this comes to my end of presentation. I would like to pass it back to Ivan.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Kim Hop. Okay, guys, I think we have great sharing. We have a lot of questions to go through. Give me a while. Here we go. Sorry. Hold on. Okay. All right, guys. So thank you so much for your sharing, John and Okay, so for those of you who are still collating questions, before I go on, remember, do the survey, do it now. If you have no question to ask, do it now. Scan and do it now. Secretariat, please paste for me in the group chat, in the chat conversation. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's go through some questions. Maybe to start off with John first, to give Kim Hawk a break. John, Palo Alto Network you mentioned about Zoom and all this stuff, right? Is there any solution that you can provide so that you can stop the cyber threat, be it for Zoom or Microsoft Teams or any other solution that SME is currently using for online meetings?
So for our side, right, what we provide is not so much about securing these remote or these conferencing apps per se. It's more towards providing the secure connectivity from your office to your data center to your remote location per se. So if you are talking about how can we help to secure these Zoom apps and whatnot, right? Actually, it will still depend to the best practices we've been using the video conferencing. So just take note, we do not do the securing of these conferencing apps. We actually do the securing of the connectivity between site to site.
Yeah, so to clarify, you basically do the site-to-site. Let's say they have two different work sites, and let's say the SME, illustrate an example. So if it's an SME with two work sites, or say right now at home, 10 people are working remotely, you are securing the connection from staff A and staff B to C to D to E to F to G. Would that be correct, John?
That's right, Ivan. Right.
Okay, got it. So yeah, to Gary's question, the idea of security for your own online meeting app like Zoom or Microsoft Teams or any other vendor out there will really more depend on the individual vendors. Okay, let's go to.
May I add on this,
sure.
Ivan?
Sure.
So video conferencing tool become popular now. So we are using Zoom. We have Microsoft Teams, Google Talk. In fact, my guy in Hong Kong, we did a presentation about how to secure video conferencing tools. So I can send you the slide if anyone interested, because, be careful about the video conferencing tool. If your configuration is not set up properly, you may not know who is behind in the video conferencing. And they can really take picture, record it, and you don't know how your data was being leaked out. So you have to tighten it when you're doing presentation, set a password, and also admit the audience one by one, which is what I think SG Tech is doing here, so that you know who is the people attending your call and verify with that, So all this need to be tightened up. And to me, it's a secure configuration services that this thing also can help SME to implement it. But I can send you the slide. You can do your own, without additional charge, no problem. Okay.
Okay. For those of you interested in that slide, please just drop us or email info@sgtech.org.sg and we will mail it out to you as well. Or you can directly contact Kim Hawk. I'm sure he'll give you guys your email in the group chat in a short while. Now, I have a question from Lydia for both of you, but Kim Hawk, since you're online, let's let you take a step first. How do we verify that if I want to buy a new SaaS solution or storage solution, like I want to put my data in this cloud, for example, how do I verify that the vendor has enough security measures in place?
I think you can't go through the checklist to verify vendor by vendor. I think the easiest way is that you follow the big guys, what big guys do. I know it's a very simplistic solution because most SME do not have the time and resources, right, to dig into what is the appropriate storage solution and SAN solution. So I think the commonly available solution, cost effective, enough, sufficient. So are those that solution that endorsed by like IMDA, GovTech, So those are the services. As long as you find the features and the security is sufficient, just go for it. Because don't ever spend time to really compare line by line and the contract and so on. I don't think SME have the resources and time to go through that. Yeah. So that's my very straightforward opinion.
John, any thoughts on this? Like, how do you evaluate, even for yourself?
So thanks, Lydia. I think that's a good question because there's a lot of SaaS out there, a lot of cloud storage vendors, as well as cloud solutions out there for everyone. So the way to address this, right, is you need to have a central solution that is able to centrally manage all these numerous SaaS or numerous cloud service providers or cloud storage vendor solution, because even though they might have their cloud native, their native type of security solution, but it is still siloed to their solution per se. So how do you actually, let's say if I'm using SaaS 1, SaaS 2, SaaS 3, how do I centrally really manage the security for these three altogether per se?
Yeah.
So in fact, for Palo Alto Networks itself, in our portfolio under Prisma, we do have this solution called the Prisma Cloud and the Prisma SaaS, which is able to do this central management of it. So
Okay.
we'll be happy to discuss more with you. Thanks.
So for Lydia, just wait for the solution part at 1:15, and then I think John and Kim Hong will show your own version of it. But one quick takeaway is this: I think IMDA does a very good job of curating the solutions on the SME Go Digital one. The ones that are under the Productivity Solution grant. So good idea to start there first. Okay, I think that's a good thing from Kim. Good suggestion from Kim Hong. Now let us answer another question. Let's talk about laptops. So now a lot it's Rebecca, which is a regular attendee. There's a lot of laptops. People are just buying laptop left, right, center, right? And now give the employees, right? What would you recommend that is affordable for SME right now to at least secure their laptop? Because everybody just buying laptop now. So any solution recommendation? Quick solution, like what's the first thing that you think? Like virus scan, antivirus. What should it be? Kim Hong, any thoughts?
Depends is a Mac laptop or Windows. So to me, I will follow the standard. I set up my company, so I only use Lenovo laptop.
Okay.
And also, of course, your OS need to be security update need to be constantly done, and also install a right antivirus software. So these are to me is some cyber hygiene that you need to practice, as I mentioned just now.
Okay.
Update your outdated software, keep your antivirus updated,
Antivirus, okay.
Yeah, and a password policy, set it strongly and so on. So these are the basic things that SME can follow. Yeah.
Got it. So just 3 simple things to at least make it more secure than whatever base position you are starting with.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Kim Hong. All right. Let's talk about another question. Let me see. Yes. John, you talk about all this frame attack, happening because of COVID-19. What kind of attack you think are the most scary for SME in the last few weeks because of COVID-19 that have spring out and that you guys have observed?
So from our side, is pretty much there's still a lot of victims towards all these legacy kind of attacks that are happening. Things like the phishing, things like the clicking of wrong attachments, or even emails that might look legitimate. So it's really just about all these kind of simple kind of attacks that actually reoccurring again, just that they are being renamed or re-imaged into looking like it's something to help you per se for COVID-19 period.
So phishing attack is happening the same, just that it's now making it look like COVID-19, and because people are more scared because of COVID-19, they are clicking it more often because they fall to prey to this. That is the big cybersecurity risk right now happening. Am I right to say that?
And because of this COVID-19 itself, you will be expecting to see even more of this kind of phishing attempts coming from the...
Granted, since all of us are at home some more, right? Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I can imagine. All right. This is a great question. Thank you. Now, a lot of questions are about how much Kim Hawk's and John's solution cost. So those questions, my colleague Sharon, my co-counselor from SG Tech, will address them later when they demo their exact solution. So this part, we try to keep it very generic in terms of giving everyone a neutral overview of cybersecurity. All right. So I have a good question here. You both are in this area, right? Any good training programs for cyber hygiene that you have seen so far? Like ideally speaking, online and something that can roll out to your company. Any good training programs available that you have seen in Singapore?
Okay, maybe let me start first. So there are some free phishing awareness training program online, which is free for SME. I think they are limited to certain number of users. These are those that you can subscribe and test it yourself to learn what are those possible phishing attacks email, how it looks like, and what area to check.
Okay.
So there are different vendors offering this. So I will not share it here because there's a competition.
Of course,
you can send it to me. I can send you the link. What are those free online phishing simulation assessment program available? Yeah.
John, any good resources that you guys are using to learn about cybersecurity and stuff, or maybe even Palo Alto Network have such resources available?
Yes, so that's a good question. So actually for Palo Alto Networks itself, we have two sources. One of which is called the Cyberpedia, whereby we provide to publicly for end users to take a look and on translating some of the complex cybersecurity terms into more understandable terms. Secondly, we have another website called the Beacon itself. It's a Beacon portal. What it does is
Okay.
actually, it's a very interactive portal, very colorful, very easy to navigate, very friendly portal for customers or even end users to even access to understand more about what are the security trends and whatnot in very simple terms. So I think what I can do is I can provide you these two links. You can probably go there and take a look at it.
Got it. Thanks so much, John. We'll add it in later. So Daniel, hopefully that helps. And I'm sure, not to say any koyo here, but I'm sure some of the University Skills Future program, I just did a quick search, has some good cybersecurity classes, about $100 for a 15 hours class. Might be a good thing for you guys to look at. All right. We're gonna ask two or three more questions. Okay, hold on. Yes, configuration. The both of you should be good in this. So the worry now is this: the laptops are now at the employees' SME homes already. No way to visit them because COVID-19, right? Circuit breaker. How to install this solution on this computer employee house when the IT cannot even help them fix it up? Very practical and relevant. Yeah. How do I do this? Yeah.
I think for me, first of all, SME IT guy, maybe set up a simple user guide document, step by step, how to ensure the employee home laptop, home PC, secure your laptop and the wireless router, wireless password, and so on. So there may be some step-by-step guide, depends on company policy, So generally, you should have at least, secure password at home. You should have a secure home broadband router, because as you can remember, most of the home broadband router come with a default password. It's still today, but government has taken some action. I think it will legalize it to ensure all the home broadband router and devices are secure by default. I think I read about it sometimes early this year. So I think next year will become a standard. So at the moment is that these are the key things: the admin password, the Wi-Fi password, the laptop password. These are the basic things we got to take care of now.
Okay. So these are the basic thing, and of course the best way to install this is remote. So set up, say, what's the one? Login me, right? There's this thing that you can control the person's screen and help them set it up if they need help, right? I would think that. Okay.
Something like a remote PC and so on. Yep.
Remote PC, yes. Okay. Last but not least, I have a final question for John's sake, right? How do you perform a risk assessment? Okay, no, sorry. Let me. That one's a bit technical. I think you can address that later. For John and for Kim Hock, but John first. Mobile phones. My employees are SME employees are obviously using mobile phones, and the banks are very secure. DigiBank all have those security thing like Face ID and all, right? But what if they're accessing files on a mobile phone? How can we be secure that when my employees use their mobile phone to access files is safe?
Okay, so maybe I'll just do a quick answer for this first. So first of all, you need to have definitely some form of protection on your endpoint, which is the mobile phone.
Okay.
Let's take, for example, for Palo Alto Networks, right? We actually have this mobile app itself called the Global Protect, which actually, on top of providing the secure connectivity, right? We also able to provide you the security protection that on your phone per se. So how we actually protect is also more towards understanding in terms of whether your mobile phones are they accessing those malicious sites or malicious URLs itself. This is how we do the protection.
Okay, so I think one good suggestion for a lot of people is for micro SME, as I shared before, a very good solution is a cheaper VPN. As long as your employees are accessing files on their phone, make them turn on VPN. Like it can be a public free VPN in the sense that you pay for it, not free per se. But VPN usually helps secure. And if you're accessing files from a common drive, that is one of our solution provider. For example, Sharon, who's my co-counselor, she has a solution called Easy Share, which is like a Dropbox kind of business services. That solution itself is already secure on that end. So having a VPN is an added layer to help you secure the device on the phone. All right, Kim Hok, anything to think about for mobile phone before I pass it over?
I mean, mobile phone is just like a laptop or server, so it's the same thing. Just keep your
Okay.
software updated, keep a strong password policy. And also when you connect to Wi-Fi, don't connect to a public Wi-Fi. And when some public Wi-Fi, you can see there's unsecure network connection. So try to avoid this. I think the best Wi-Fi connectivity is not a public Wi-Fi, it's still the mobile Wi-Fi. If you're given a choice, like you're outside, you need to do a internet transaction payment. Don't use the Wi-Fi at the restaurant or somebody else.
Ooh, okay.
You should just go ahead using your 4G network to do it if you need to do it. So these are some basic things that, because you use a restaurant Wi-Fi or the Wi-Fi at the location, you wouldn't know what will happen, right, between your Wi-Fi and your laptop, your mobile phone. So mostly the provider, like Singtel, StarHub, Wireless SG, they all has this security assessment done, because some of it is done by my company as well. So you should use those secure Wi-Fi connection, not the restaurant Wi-Fi and so on. Yeah. So that's my advice.
So I think a lot of this cybersecurity advice is not just about buying things, it's about ensuring that your employees know about hygiene factors, like things like don't do this, do this, do this. I think a lot of it, like for example, even my own corporate phone, we have a corporate VPN, and sometimes when I access file, I just forget to turn it on. Like it's such a habit thing. So I think a lot of it for cybersecurity, for a lot of micro SME, don't worry too much. We're going to hear from Song Jie and our SSC member very soon about different solutions to secure. But really, the first step is about yourself and ensuring your employee follow things. So a few more things before I wrap up and pass over to Song Jie. Please, once again, do it now, like right now, okay? Surveilling, take a phone, scan, do it now, okay? And to the 3 people who asked me why my profile picture changed, yes, as you realize, my dear friend, as a little joke here, my dear friend said that my previous profile picture looks like a stock image. So this is why the profile picture has changed. So that answers the random question that was sent to me, okay? So without further ado, thank you so much for being here with me. I'm going to pass it over to Song Jie now. Song Jie, over to you.
All right, thank you, Ivan, Kim Hok, and John for the very educational sharing. And yeah, to all the viewers, please help us to complete the survey. Yeah, it'll be very helpful for us. Okay, so good afternoon to everyone. My name is Song Jie, and SG Tech has created a list of several tools that are useful for SMEs